They say paradise is where the heart finds peace. White sand, turquoise water, laughter of children echoing between palm trees. But sometimes, the prettiest places hide the darkest truths. This story begins on a small island that lives off kindness, or at least the illusion of it. Every year, thousands of tourists fly here to make a difference. They pack suitcases full of crayons, clothes, and good intentions. And when they leave, they take photos of smiling children, proof that they helped. But the children stay behind. And what happens after the cameras stop is what no one sees. In the hills above the resort zone, there's an orphanage painted in bright blues and yellows. Locals call it the Haven. It looks peaceful from the road, like something out of a charity brochure. But former volunteers describe something very different. They talk about locked doors, about children punished for speaking their language, about donations disappearing before reaching their beds. And the strangest thing of all, many of the orphans weren't orphans at all. When journalist Mara da Silva first came to the island, she didn't expect to uncover anything. She just finished a report on poverty tourism, the kind where visitors pay to feel generous for a weekend. But one day, a mother approached her near the market. She was crying. In her hand was a photo. Her daughter, in a uniform from the Haven. She said she'd been told her child would get an education and a better life. That was 3 years ago. She hasn't seen her since. Mara started digging. The paperwork didn't add up. Some children had been admitted multiple times under different names. Others had vanished after international adoptions that weren't properly documented. When she confronted the director, he smiled. "We're just giving these kids a chance," he said. But behind that smile, something felt rehearsed, almost like a script he'd said too many times before. It turns out the Haven wasn't alone. Across Southeast Asia, Africa, and the Caribbean, thousands of volunteerism orphanages operate under a similar pattern. Foreigners donate money. Agencies funnel children, sometimes taken from poor families, into institutions to attract more funding. The more children they have, the more sympathy they can sell. To the volunteers, it feels like love. To the donors, it looks like hope. But to the children, it's a revolving door of strangers who promise to stay, then disappear. Psychologists have a name for this: attachment disruption. It's when a child bonds, again and again, to people who vanish. Each time, the brain learns not to trust, not to love too deeply, because love, in their world, always leaves. One former volunteer, Hannah, recalls the day she realized something was wrong. A toddler named Eli called her Mama. It broke her heart until she noticed he said it to every visitor. Each new group that came, he'd start again, she said, like he was trying to find the one who wouldn't leave. When Hannah tried to report what she saw, she was told she was too emotional. The organization reminded her of her contract's confidentiality clause. Focus on the positive, they said. So she quit, but the guilt never left her. There's a quiet industry built on empathy, one that packages compassion into something you can buy. A week in paradise, a photo with a child, a story to tell back home. It's called orphanage tourism, and globally, it generates millions every year. Meanwhile, in the villages just beyond those glossy brochures, parents are told that surrendering their kids might be the only way to save them. That poverty makes them unfit. That education abroad is better than love at home. But when those children disappear, no one investigates, because technically it was for charity. A UNICEF report once called it the kindness that kills. And maybe that's what this really is, a story about the danger of good intentions. When empathy becomes economy, when love becomes leverage. Years later, Mara returned to the island with the mother who'd lost her daughter. The orphanage was closed now, shuttered after a corruption probe. But on the wall, a fading mural still showed children holding hands under the words, "Together, we build a brighter future." The mother traced her fingers over the paint. Then she said quietly, maybe the future they built was only for themselves. The world loves to believe that kindness saves, but real kindness doesn't need cameras. It doesn't sell t-shirts. It doesn't turn children into stories. It listens. It stays. It asks who's really being helped and who's being used. So next time we see an orphan smile on a glossy brochure, maybe we should ask who took the picture and who took the child.